this video, we'll be talking about match control flow operator and option enum in Rust programming language. Now, let's first discuss about match control flow operator. It is a tool in Rust programming language in which we can control the execution of program or flow of program. Okay, by we in this through this tool we used to compare our value with some kind of patterns. Okay, now if our value matches with pattern, that code inside that pattern will execute. Okay, like we have used if and else statement, so it is almost same like if and else statement. Okay, the match control flow operator is 90% same like if and else statement. In that statement we used to match the expression, so in this we used to match the our values with the pattern, series of pattern. Okay, the pattern can be anything, it can be a string, it can be a variable, integer value, anything. Okay, if our value, our data matches with the pattern, then the code inside that pattern will get executed. Okay, now let's discuss, we take an example of size of a pizza. Okay, let's suppose I create, first of all we have to create the enum, and through enum we use the match control flow operator, and after that we will control the our execution of our program. Okay, like which value we want to execute. Okay, now first for suppose I create an enum of enum, I say that enum pizza. Okay, so I've created an enum of pizza, and you all know that inside the block of code of enum we have its variants. So okay, so we are basically creating about the size of we will say that we have small size, medium size, and large size. Okay, so basically we have three variants in this enum. Okay, and the three variants are the small size pizza, medium size, and the large size pizza. Okay, after that we'll be creating a function, and okay, check function. Now we are going to uh, define this function, check function, with some parameter. Now let's suppose I say that my parameter is size. Okay, and this parameter will have some data type, obviously. Now which value will be, we all have discussed enum in the previous video, we have discussed enum. Now we'll be passing an instance of this enum. Okay, so to pass the instance of this enum we have to write the data type over here, which is this pizza. Okay, because this pizza is a custom data type of which we have created the instance, and we'll be passing it as a parameter to this function. Okay, so we have to write the data type pizza. After that we'll have to write over here. Okay, now this pizza will return us over here, we will write match size. Okay, and right, now what's this keyword? This is the keyword of match control flow operator. Okay, we have to write this keyword match. Now we have written match size. Now size is what is the parameter that we are passing into this function. Basically we will match this size with the series of pattern. Now we'll be writing the patterns in this brackets. Okay, so first of all I write here that if the size is small, then it will return me something. I say that print small pizza of, first of all I say 6 slices. Okay, I will be explaining you this all. Okay, so don't worry. Pizza dot medium will return me, first of all I say that print, okay, medium pizza of 7 slices, sorry, not 7, I say that 8 slices. Okay, and after that last pattern will be our pizza dot large. This will return us print large pizza of 12 slices. Okay, now this is called the, now this pizza and that's double colon small, this is called the match arm. Okay, what is match arm? Match arm means it will have the expression, okay, and after that it will have some code. Okay, so this is basically, this arm will have two parts. Okay, this first part, pizza double colon small, this part is called the pattern. Okay, we already discussed that in match control flow operator we used to compare our data with some series of patterns. Okay, now our data is this size. Okay, we have written match size, means we are comparing our data with these patterns: pizza small, pizza medium, pizza large. These three are called patterns. Okay, and this is first part of match arm. Our second part of match arm is this code, what the data we want to return. If the our data is matching with the if our data is matching with the pattern, then what should be executed? Okay, that part is called the second, this is the second part of our match arm. Okay, that means that this print function is the second part of a match arm. Okay, so this match, after that we are comparing our size with this pattern. If our size is pizza small, then print this. If our size is pizza medium, then print this. And if our size is this pattern pizza large, then print this function. So in this way we used to compare our data with a series of pattern, and if the first pattern matches, then the first data is executed. If the middle one get matches, the middle, whatever the data we will pass as the parameter, we will simply compare it with the patterns. Okay, it is 80% same with the if and else structure that we have already discussed, but the major difference is in if and else structure we have the result in the boolean data type, like if the expression is true or false. Okay, if the expression is true, then execute the data like that. Okay, but that's not the case in this match control flow operator. We are not binded that the only result will be in the boolean. Okay, it's not necessary in this match control flow operator. So this, it is one of the difference in this and if and else structure. Okay, so let's write the main function. Now in the main function I will first create that instance of our enum. I say that let customer1 says that I want pizza small. Let customer2 says customer2 ordered pizza large. Okay, so I've created basically two instances. Now I will be passing these instances to this check function. Just because these instances are related with this enum pizza, that's why we have written this data type over here. Okay, now I'll be passing this function check. I will be passing this instance to the check function. I say customer1, and I will call another one more time this function. I will be passing customer2, and that's it. Now let's run this program and see what's the data we are getting in the result. Unterminated character literal. Okay, okay, over here and over here it's not necessary. Okay, so small pizza of, you could have added here print ln. Okay, now this will basically format the data and it will look better. Okay, print ln. So we have got our result, that is small pizza of 6 slices, large pizza of 12 slices. Now what just executed, how the data is executed? First we have passed customer1. Okay, what is customer1? Customer1 is the instance of enum data type in which we have binded pizza double colon small. Basically, this is one of the pattern that we have binded to customer 1. We are passing this customer 1 to check function. Okay, now in the check function, this customer 1 will get binded to size. Now this size will get matched by this series of patterns. Now in the first, it's pizza small will get matched over here, and this println function is getting executed. After that, in the second, we have passed customer 2 is pizza large, so it will be matched with this pizza medium, and this will become it will become false, and after that it will pass to the third pattern, and this will match, and now this data will match this with this pattern, and the print function will get executed. So in this way we are going to use this match control flow operator. Basically, it is controlling the flow and execution of program by matching our data with a series of pattern, and once the data is matched with the pattern, that portion of code is executed. Okay, after that, now we are going to use option enum. Now what is option enum? It is again a built-in enum. Like, we can say that the data is already stored in the standard library of Rust. That means that this enum is already defined in Rust standard library, so we don't need to define this enum. I will simply give you the information that which variants are there in this information. We have basically two variants. Number one is sum of I, and another is none. These two are the variants that are present in the, or that are defined in the option enum. What is option enum? Option enum is one of the custom data type in which we have two variants. Number one is sum and number two is none. What is sum? Sum is any value that could be defined. Like, it could be any value. Okay, for suppose I say -1, -2, -3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, any value that we can define in our data is sum. Sum of I means I can be any value, anything that we can define. None is null value, that nothing is defined. Okay, in Rust we don't have null values by default. Okay, like in other programming language we have null values, but in Rust we don't have null values by default. So we used to what we can say, define null values through enums, because in enum we have option enum in the standard library, and in the option enum we have defined null values as called none as the variant. Okay, so in the option enum we have defined these two variants. Number one is sum. Sum means that it could be any value. Okay, and another one is none. None means that it is a null value, means nothing, and that means that nothing is defined. Okay, so let's start with a simple example in which we are going to use option enum and match control flow operator together. Okay, for suppose I create a function fn increment. Now this function will take some parameter, and now we are going to write the data type. Now we haven't written any enum, we haven't defined any enum, so we are going to use that option enum. Option enum is already defined in standard library. We have to just write the data type, that is option, option I32. Okay, so this is the data type of this custom data type of this value x, and this data type will return us option I32. Okay, now what we have to define in this increment function, we have to simply match this value x with the variants of option enum. We'll write match x. Okay, let me first write all the data, and after that I will be explaining you everything. If it is okay. Now I have defined this function increment. Okay, this function we are passing a value x which is of data type option. Okay, option is an enum, and it is returning us the same data type as the we are returning this in this function. Okay, now whatever the data we will pass in this function, that data will be matched. Okay, we're gonna match this data with some patterns. Now what are the patterns in this function? These patterns are actually the variants of the option enum. What were the variants of option enum? Some or none. Okay, now what we are going to apply the theory over here, that we will match the x with that whether the x, the value that we are passing is none, like it's a null value, or it's kind of some value, like it will first we will match x with none value. Okay, and after that we will match with sum of I means that sum of I means it could be any value. So we are going to match with these two variants. Okay, so if it is none, we will return none. If it is if it is any value, it could be anything from -1 to infinity, or 1 to infinity, it could be anything. So if it is any kind of value, then we have to simply increment that value, and we are going to return this value as the as we have written this option data type over here. Okay, so what we are doing here, we have two variants in the option enum, none or some. We are passing a value as a parameter to a function in which we are going to match that value with the none and some. If the value is none, then return as none, it's a null value. If it is any kind of value, okay, so if it's some value, then return as increment of that value, simply I plus 1. Okay, you will understand it when we are going to run this program. You will understand it completely. Okay, now let's create the main function fn main. Okay, okay, in the main function I say that let 5 is equals to sum of 5, let 6 is equals to increment 5, let none is equals to increment none value. Okay, and after that print 6 print none. Okay, and we have to add that default formatter colon and because we are using. Okay, now let's run this program. So we have got sum 6 and none. Okay, let's write over here println and println. So we have got sum of 6 and none. Now what, just execute how the data is executed. Let's discuss it line by line. Okay, in the first, let's start with main function. We have created a variable 5. Okay, and we are binding this 5 with sum of 5. Now this sum, we have already this is the keyword that is already defined as the variant of enum option. Okay, so sum of 5 means we have basically sum of I as the variant. Now we have binded this 5 value to I. Okay, so basically this sum of I is equal to sum of 5, and this sum of 5 we are binding it to this variable 5. We are passing this variable to this function increment 5. Now this 5 is actually get equals to this x. Okay, we are matching this x, that means we are matching sum of 5 with this two patterns. Are you getting it? Basically we are passing this sum of 5 as the parameter to this increment function. Okay, now this increment function is getting this parameter as the x variable. So basically this sum of 5 is binded to x. Now we are matching this sum of 5 with none and sum of I. it's, we know that it's not none, so this value is not executed. Okay, because we know that this is some kind of value, so it is not none, it's not null value. Okay, so the first will become false. In the second, there is sum of I, that is actually true, because this sum of 5 is some kind of sum of I, it is a value. So basically, when this value will get matched with this pattern, it will return as incremented value of that integer that we have passed 5. Okay, so it will return as sum of I plus 1, that means sum of 6. Okay, how it is returning us, because we are over here, we are returned this option enum, option I32, we have written the data type. That means that we are going to return this variant in the form of this function. We are returning this variant. So whatever the data will be returned, that will be binded to this 6. Okay, so we are simply printing this 6, and after that we are printing none. After that we have simply passed this none increment to none variant to this increment function. Okay, now this none variant become binded to x. We are matching none, that means we are matching x, that means we are matching none with these kind of patterns. The first value will get executed because it will match with none, and it will return as none. Okay, now this return value none will get binded to this none, none small, because that is capital letter, that is a keyword, and that is the variable that we have created, small letter none. Okay, and after that we are printing simply this one, none. So we have got sum of 6 and none. It was a bit confusing, but these both topics, match control flow operator and option enum, are very important in Rust, because they tell us how to control and the flow and execute the process in such a way so that the user get the required and accurate answer to its program. Okay, so today in this video we have discussed how to use match operator and how to use option enum with match operator to get our desired value. Thank you very much.